Hello, hello, and welcome to Art Snack. Art Snack is that time of day when we take just a short break from our hectic schedule to talk about art. Oh my God, that is amazing. So he's actually moving. Remember to hit that subscribe button for daily and consistent content. Hello, hello, and welcome to Art Snack. Art Snack is that time of day when we take just a short break from our hectic schedule to talk about art. My name is Jennylynd James, and I'm an artist who enjoys painting musicians, dancers, and singers and making them come alive on the canvas. With me today is Andrew Cheddie Sookrah, all the way from Toronto, Canada. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, Jennylynd.
And thank you so much for joining me on Art Snack today.
Thank you for having me.
So Andrew, tell me a bit about your background and how you got started as an artist.
Thank you. I was born in Guyana, on a very small island in Guyana, and I was surrounded by art or people who were creative from a very young age. My siblings were all artistic. My best friend at the school I went to from a very young age, he was very artistic.
Yes.
So I was exposed to art. And I was a wannabe. I wanted to be like these guys.
Okay.
I didn't think I could be like those guys because I was in adoration of the work that they were doing.
Right.
I loved art. I loved everything to do with art. I remember from a very young age, though, in that little schoolhouse that we were in, that I was sitting drawing on a slate, and I drew the houses around me in the village from memory, and my steps looked like steps.
Okay.
But I would look at the other students' work on their slates, and I would think, what's wrong with these people? Why are their steps not looking like steps? So fast forward from there to a school in Georgetown now, Queen's College.
Okay.
I was fortunate to get into Queen's College, and from the very first class I was in, we had a dedicated art class every week. The teacher took notice of what I was doing.
Yes.
And successive teachers became very encouraging. I was put forward to do the O-level exams a year ahead of eligibility.
Okay.
And I was fortunate to have been given a distinction. And then I did very well and was able to do the advanced level. Yes. Once again ahead of a schedule.
Okay.
Unfortunately, these good things led to a bad outcome. I was not spending enough time in the physics lab. When I should have been in the physics lab. I was in the art room. So yes. I was asked to leave Queen's College.
Oh.
However, I got a job in advertising the week after. So that led to a career that spanned decades. I left Guyana 2 years later, came to Canada, worked part-time as a graphic designer, got into studying at OCAD and Ryerson and George Brown.
Okay.
All the while painting and drawing.
Yes, yes.
So one informed the other. My fine art background informed my graphic design.
Yes.
And my graphic design informed my art, as you can see from some of the samples.
Yes.
And I started my own company that did very well for many years. We were in corporate business-to-business direct marketing. We won many awards. We went up against some of the big agencies in Canada and the States, and we won top prize. We won the gold several times. So I was very thrilled to have been with such an incredible team. Now, nothing lasts forever, so that came to an end about 8 years ago.
Ooh.
I had been ramping up my painting from that point.
Yes.
I was at the Arts and Letters Club of Toronto. I ran the figurative painting session there. I have dozens and dozens of nudes and portraits that were done as part of that session. But I always was working with my landscapes. I worked with oil, acrylic, watercolor, and pastel. The work that you're seeing now only from oil and acrylic, but watercolor was my first love. I've got
so you've worked with many media over the years.
Yes, I don't focus on one only.
Right.
Around here somewhere, there's a pastel piece that was done earlier on this year. So now I'm a member of the Society of Canadian Artists, honorary member, the Ontario Society of Artists, the Canadian Society of Painters of Watercolor, Portrait Society of Canada, and I teach online as well as in person. Michael Gallery, I teach at the Barrie Arts Club. I do 1-day and 2-day workshops for various arts organizations, and I do travel a lot to teach. I'm hoping to travel to the Caribbean at some point.
Excellent.
Workshops to teach there as well too.
Of course, excellent. So Andrew, please show me some samples of your work.
I'll just talk to each one. I'll begin by saying I travel quite a bit to get reference material to paint. I paint on location as well as using the material that I photograph or sketch on these travel excursions that I go on.
Yes.
So the work can be done, for instance, on a beach in the Arctic, on Ellesmere Island in the Arctic, or I could be standing beside a waterfall like this one, sketching, and then coming back to work in my studio. I take lots of reference photographs. I do a lot of sketching, whether it's with pen or watercolor or pen and ink. And I don't restrict myself to one way of doing things. I keep my options open. So this summer in 2021, I went up north because I wanted to get away for a few days. It was around Thanksgiving, and I did some research, called around to a few people, and I was told to go up. Well, I was going up the North Bay anyway, so I said, anything of interest around there? And one person said, look for Duchesne Falls. So I drove up to North Bay. It's about a 6-hour drive, and I got up there. And to my surprise, it was very easy to find Duchesne Falls. I was able to walk across some streams to get to the base of the falls itself. And this was quite a stunning scene to be a part of. It all, as you can see, the leaves on top that are very indicative of the Ontario fall scene. And the water was just rushing down. Lots of rocks, very typical Canadian landscape in the north.
Lovely.
Then this one, I've always been fascinated with Newfoundland. I love their culture. I love their scenery, the rugged rawness of that place, and even the beautiful rawness of the people themselves.
They
remind me of back home. These guys, well, you know, they don't take too many things seriously, and they're always ready to help people. Look at Come From Away, when that presentation.
Yes, definitely.
Were stranded in St. John. So I knew about Gros Morne, and so I called ahead to a place in Deer Lake, and a gentleman in Deer Lake. I'd done my research. He does helicopter tours. So I said, I'm coming. I want to fly over Gros Morne. So I invested quite a bit of money to get there and to hop on to a helicopter with pilot Bob. And we flew up for half an hour. I couldn't afford more than half an hour.
Beautiful.
Flew around Gros Morne. I took lots of pictures. And this was one of the scenes that I've painted many times now in different interpretations.
Right. And is this acrylic on canvas?
This is acrylic on canvas.
Okay, beautiful.
This one is also acrylic on canvas. I
Yes.
have a little fondness for architecture. I wanted to be an architect, but I just couldn't hack the math. So I've restricted my foray into architecture to simply painting other people's work.
Yes.
So this is Bloor Street heading east. You can see Bloor Street. I think this is Bloor Street.
Yes, yes, the new construction.
Yeah, going up there. I love these cranes, and I always work on composition. I spend quite a bit of time on composition.
Okay.
And controlling the movement of the eye.
Okay, so please tell me about this piece.
Right, so this is a smaller piece. It was done on my second trip up north this past summer. I love painting water and the movement of water. I'm fascinated by this. I don't know if it's because I was born on an island and I spent a lot of time in Guyana by the water side,
yes,
looking at the waves coming in, whether it's calm waves or angry waves. Well, water is never really angry. It's just exuberant. And
okay.
these waves coming in from the Atlantic were quite exuberant. So the movement always fascinated me. So this is a quick sketch that was done after I came back from the trip. The second one, this is something from my background. My uncle had Caterpillar machines that he used when he worked with the Guyanese mining industry in Linden, in Guyana.
Yes.
So I grew up exposed to these machines. Now I've taken a bit of liberty with their brand color. Their brand color is this bright orange, the Caterpillar color.
Yes.
But I wanted to do something that's evocative of my style when I work with these colors. They're primary colors next to each other, and there are also some analogous colors next to each other as well too. But you can see how I'm working with lines, the lines that are pointing to one area, and then they're playing it with your eye in one area, moving around in the scene. So this is one of my favorite paintings. It's called Cat on the North Side of Queen. Now, this is also acrylic. Yeah. And this piece, in the same style, but lending itself more into a graphic feel. I have a very in-depth background in graphic design and creative development. When I had my marketing agency, I was working in advertising in Guyana.
Oh.
A quick story, I was kicked out of school at age 16 at Queen's College, and I got a job the next week in advertising.
Okay, there you go.
I worked in advertising for 2 years before I came to Canada.
Okay.
So that's all part of it's all part of any painting that I create.
Yes.
Everything in my past is brought to bear in every single painting that I do.
Yes.
So this is also Newfoundland. You would have seen from the first painting I showed you.
Right.
Same scene, but with a different look to it. Now, the next piece is oil. This is oil on canvas.
Okay.
And it's a technique that I use quite often when I do my portraiture, which we'll have to talk about another day.
Okay.
One that is more like a watercolor technique, where I put paint onto a canvas that's been rubbed down with my walnut oil, and then the paint for the highlights is removed and moved around with a brush.
Okay.
See how the glacier that's coming down. This is part of one of the pieces I use, my collection, part of my collection of pieces that I use when I talk a bit about my environmental sort of concern. I'm not as fully an advocate as I need to be. I believe art can be used for advocacy, and I would like to do so. I just spoke to someone last week who was doing this, a very young kid who's doing this very forcefully. She is an advocate for old growth forests out in the West Coast. And I think you'll be wise to interview her if you make an exception to, your interviewees being artists or sculptors or whatever, this is a bright young kid, and she will talk.
Well, send me her contact information and I will reach out.
I will.
Okay, so thank you so much for showing us your work. I do appreciate it. So Andrew,
yes,
tell me where viewers can find more of your work.
Thank you for asking. Immediately, they could go to my website, sookrah.ca. So that's www.sookrah.ca. At the bottom of that page, the landing page, you'll see a virtual exhibition. I could do a quick review here. You can see how to view it. Last year, when COVID had hit and there was a lockdown, everything had been canceled.
Yes.
The year before, I decided I wasn't going to be sitting around and twiddling my thumbs. So since all of my shows were canceled, I thought there has to be a way of showing my work online.
Yes.
I researched 5 to 7 online platforms, and I arrived at something called Kunstmatrix out of Germany.
Oh, okay.
You guys have an amazing platform. So I tried the free version, then I bought the advanced version, and I now have a show. It's online. I haven't updated it with my recent work. I've sold quite a few pieces from that online exhibition, and you can actually walk around in a room.
Oh, so you feel like you're in a room. It's a virtual room.
You are in my exhibition. You can walk around.
Excellent.
You can zoom in. You can find information on the paintings, etc. So that's one.
Right. So you have a link for that?
Well, it's on my website.
On the website. Okay, so we'll put your website here on the page so people can go and see Andrew's exhibition online.
So at the bottom of that landing page, you'll see, I forget what it's called now, but you'll see a little box, and if you click on it, it'll ask you to enter the exhibition. So that's one.
Yes.
Now, the website itself, it is also not up to date, but it has a ton of my work. Landscapes, figurative, sculpture. I do some sculpture. I do ceramic sculpture.
Oh.
I have, and guess what the subject would be? I have glaciers running in my veins. I
you like the glaciers. Okay.
I love doing icebergs. So I paint them and I work on them out of porcelain. I have a few of them left. They've been very.
We'll have to check them out on the website.
Yep.
Wonderful. And what other social media handles do you use?
I'm on Instagram, and it's Andrew_Cheddie_Sookrah.
Okay.
Facebook is Andy Sookrah, and
Pinterest.
Not Pinterest. What's the other one?
Twitter.
What's the third one? @Sookrah.
Is that Twitter?
Twitter, yeah, Twitter.
Yes.
So @Sookrah.
Okay.
I'll send you my bio.
Right, and then I can put that on the screen.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. That's all we have time for today. Viewers can also see some of my work at jennylyndjames.pixels.com and on Instagram and Facebook at Art by Jennylynd James. That's Art by Jennylynd James. Thanks again, Andrew.
Let me say thank you, Jennylynd. This has been amazing. I love what you're doing in support of the artistic community, in the sisterhood and the brotherhood of art creation. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Remember to hit that subscribe button for daily and consistent content. Hope to see you every day. Hit the subscribe button.